I'd have to say that Buffalo has one of the strongest communities that we have ever experienced. When things go wrong here, you'll see the town pitch in. People from all parts of the town, they come together and they help people out. And when you find that in a town, you don't leave it. Mm-hmm. You stay and you build on it. You make it better, so yeah, we love this place.
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reiss and Mark Benzer.
Hey everybody, and we are back for another episode of Buffalo Community Podcast. You probably haven't seen him, or you've seen actually him in some of his work that around town, but you're probably more familiar with his gigantic dog. We've got Chris Cline in here. You guys are residents of Buffalo.
Yes.
And actually we're going to probably make a thumbnail, or hopefully we can provide one of a piece of your work and it's more familiar, sure. But yep. That's Chris Cline, and we saw you have a massive following on social media.
It's been crazy,
but we're lucky enough to have you here in Buffalo.
This is the best place. We love living here. Love it.
So tell us a little bit about you.
All right. So I grew up in Virginia, and I went to art school in Pittsburgh, so I've always been an artist, but I could never really make anything happen with it.
Sure.
All my life, I tried here and there, but it was really hard. It's just hard to find direction when you're in your 20s and 30s, I think. So, but once my life started to settle down a little bit, I moved up. Christine and I met on Instagram. And we kind of talked for a little while, and finally we agreed that we either needed to meet or kind of just go our separate ways. And I came up for the weekend. During the summer, I came up for a weekend, and I just stayed. Yeah. I just stayed here. I loved it here. I didn't like the winters so much.
Huh.
As
we're desperately trying to break out of the
so
winter.
Brutal. But I learned really fast that when you live in Minnesota, you have to have a hobby, something to keep you busy during the winters. So she gave me an old laptop and an old camera, and I just started to mess around with it. And one thing led to another, and I started to do these funny pictures with my dog. And I would say within 3 to 4 months, I was doing them every day. And then within 6 to 8 months, I was doing it full time.
Sure.
So it just really took off.
Full time meaning for work.
I gave up work and started to do this for an income.
Yep.
Yeah. So and it's not like I'm getting rich or anything, but it started off smaller, and it's gotten bigger over the years. Mm-hmm. It's gone from me just doing a few things here and there to where I have weekly work now. I have returning customers. I've done work for people on every continent. Even have a calendar. I had a calendar one year in Antarctica.
Really?
Yeah. So every continent, we've worked with people or, gotten our calendars to them, spread our message. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Message basically is, man, you got to smile.
Yeah.
It's just about a boy and his dog, so.
Right. Yeah. If you don't smile when you're looking at your work, at your calendars, at your Instagram page, then I don't know if you are capable of smiling.
The fun part is that I almost force you into the smile because I don't include any religious topics, political topics, monetary topics.
Oh, that's what we were going to talk about next.
Yeah. It's just about a boy and his dog. And I mean, I even go as far as to I don't wear clothing usually that has name brands on it because people can. You give anyone something to argue about, and they'll argue with you about it. So I take out even say a Nike logo or something like that. Somebody will come back and say, well, the labor laws and blah, blah, blah. And so I don't even give them the option to find argument in what I do. You just see fun pictures.
Yep.
Yeah. the internet is a very fertile place of jerks, But we really love our audience here. But so you're exactly right. I mean, so you must have experienced that, and is that a learning curve?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, I should take that out.
When this first started, I was very sensitive to comments. The internet's become a different place than it was just even a few years ago. I would get comments that people were so mean. Like, some of the stuff they would say, you're just like, is somebody writing this? Like, this can't be real, but you learn to turn it off.
Sure.
I've learned over the years to not even go into the comments, especially if it's like a main post, like a viral post. Just stay away, because it's always split right down the middle. There's 50 people, 50% like it, 50% don't.
And nobody's changing their mind.
Nope. So you just learn to stop trying.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say I'm not sensitive to it still. Obviously, I am. This gets my heart and my soul, my blood, sweat, tears, all of it, So when somebody comes at me and says stuff that, like, I'm abusing the dogs or something, I'm like, first, what are you talking about?
I'm not actually riding them, right?
Yeah. The dog's not actually this big.
And I don't think a lot of people know this, but I don't make any money off of this. I've been doing this for almost a little over 7 years now, and I don't make a dime off of the pictures I do with myself and my dogs.
Yeah.
I own the rights to all of them. I don't lease them out. We do it because it's a therapy for me. But it's also a way that I've learned to monetize it a little, because it's my job now, but I do this for other people.
With their dogs
and themselves, So, but I don't make any money off this. I just do it because it's fun.
Got to have a hobby in Minnesota.
Yeah, man, that's 7 months of staying.
Well, you sounded so Minnesotan right there. So, let's. We're probably going to bounce around on a few different topics.
Sure.
And when you walked in here, you said last year you didn't live here.
No, we moved to Tennessee last year. We had the option to stay, and we wanted to try something new, so we packed everything up, house, dogs, everything, and we went down to Tennessee, and we knew almost immediately that it was a mistake. Sure. I would say within the first couple of weeks. And we did give it a shot. We gave it a few months, but then after about the third month, we knew it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
The town was pretty dead, and there just was nothing happening there. It was hard to see, too. I won't get into the details of the town because I don't want to upset anyone, but it was hard to watch. And it drug us down, too, because I couldn't get any work. And it was affecting us psychologically. I basically aired a nervous breakdown over the course of about 2 or 3 months. And I don't think I could have gone through that without the help of my friends on social media.
Sure.
Everybody keeping me solid, like hang in there. It's almost over. We were able to sell the house, get back up here. One of the experiences we had down there, we took our dog to a groomer, and she busted out 3 of his teeth. And then tried to hide it. He had to have them surgically removed because she broke them off at the gums. So it was that was just one of the things that happened, and we just knew we weren't meant to be there. So we came home.
Yeah, wow. And this is not coming from somebody who's never lived other places. You weren't born and raised and tried to live somewhere else besides Buffalo. I mean, you've experienced other communities and other places.
Yeah, I've been all around. And the one thing that I'll have to say, and I know I had a pretty rocky life and I lived a pretty rough life, and I didn't really start paying attention until I was around 40. But I'd have to say that Buffalo has one of the strongest communities that we have ever experienced. When things go wrong here, you'll see the town pitch in. People from all parts of the town, they come together and they help people out. And when you find that in a town, you don't leave it. You stay and you build on it. You make it better, so yeah, we love this place.
I feel like that's our hook right there, that little 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Write that down, Luke. I mean, and that's, that's kind of why we started this. I mean, as the greatest small town in the USA.
Yeah.
And we're very much townies. We grew up here. Luke came here, and we've been blessed that he's been able to join here.
Yeah.
And, to see this and hear everybody's stories that,
yeah, we're townies too.
Here. Yeah.
Absolutely. We come into town, people wave to us. I remember when we moved back up here, the day we got here, we came into town. She dropped me off, and I was just walking around taking pictures, and 5-6 cars just down here along the water. Chris, hey, how's it going? Just driving by, honking horns.
Yeah.
And then, like, when we come into town on the weekends, which we do every single weekend, we know people everywhere.
Yeah.
And they know us, and it's good to be known for something good.
Yeah.
Very fun. I want to talk to you about your Instagram a little bit.
Okay.
I think you've got the most followers that I've ever met personally. Somebody. I don't. It's maybe
smoke and mirrors.
So 300,000 plus. I mean, was that ever a goal to grow that, or it just happened?
Oh, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, everybody wants to grow their brand.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get a piece of what's going on in the social media world. I've been part of it for quite a while now, and I'll say that there are pros and cons, just like with anything you do. With the climate these days, I've stayed away a lot. Not that I stay away from social media. I'm not as personal as I was a year ago.
Yeah.
Because people use it against you.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful about what you say. But back to the Instagram account, it was never at first about growing.
Yeah.
It was just about staying sane for 7 months in the winter. But it rolled. It was like a snowball. Like, it took off, and like Lil Wayne shared it, and Ashton Kutcher, dude from Maroon 5,
Levine,
Adam Levine shared it. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And before I knew it, it was everywhere. Like, it was everywhere. It was all over the world. And our local papers hadn't even picked it up yet. It was in like the My Modern Met and Lad Bible over in England. And it was just everywhere. And it was the funnest ride. It was so much fun. Like, people were calling. It was a nonstop, 24 hours a day, attention. And it's so silly because it was just silly pictures, and I was terrible at it.
Yeah.
I wasn't even good at it yet. That was the funny part. Like, I go back and I look at some of the pictures that I first got started with, and I'm like, oh my God, they're so bad. You can see all the cutouts. You can tell it's Photoshop. And, I've gotten much better at it. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Instagram account is so much fun. Facebook, not as big, but Facebook is more personal.
Yeah.
I have more personal relationships, I feel, on Facebook, and I just started TikTok too. In a month, I've done 11,000 followers.
Nice.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And that's what it's become for me a lot is, excuse me, it's become a numbers game. And I don't know how that happened. That was definitely never a plan, but numbers are constantly in my head. How much am I producing?
Sure.
How many likes, how many comments, how much interaction, how many big accounts have seen what I'm doing, how many accounts that are photography accounts have seen what I'm doing. Like I can tell you my demographics up and down the spectrum.
Sure.
I get really into it, so it's fun.
Yeah.
It's not just photography, and it's not just Photoshop. It's like a whole mixture of stuff because there's stories behind everything, and it's just fun,
Yeah.
So,
can I ask you what's been the most unique thing that somebody's asked you to, hey, could you do this for me? I want this picture in your style.
Oh, there's tons of those. I'd have to say the one that I had the most fun with was there's a lady here in town. She owns Buffalo Pizza. Mm-hmm. we did her pictures, and they had a giant chicken running after the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it came out great. It's such a cool picture.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. So a little local there. I mean, and you, I don't know if we were recording before you said that. Do you want to do more local stuff? I mean,
Yeah, I love doing
you're
local
townies.
stuff. I love to connect with local businesses, getting to know people, being like tying that community back together again, you know. And it's a really fun thing to do too, because once you get ties with the community, things start to happen for you that you didn't realize could happen.
Yeah.
And it's not a total strength in numbers per se, but it's, I don't know, how they say when you give back, you get what you give.
Yeah.
Like, man, community.
We had a lot of help from the community moving back.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when we got in trouble down in Tennessee and had to get back up here, one of my followers who owns a lake house was like, you know, we're leaving for the winter, so you can just stay at our place up here. And so we didn't have a place to live yet.
Sure.
Right.
So she gave us her lake house. It's just a gorgeous place. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. We'll just stay here.
Right?
You guys
Yeah.
stay down
You know,
there. We'll stay, yeah.
And she was so nice.
We'll bring your mail in.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we did. You know, we got the trash cans. We
Yeah.
did all the stuff. You know, so, but that's just what I'm talking about. Like, the strength of the community here is like nothing I've seen before. So it's very cool.
Yeah.
very
Well, I think it's
special.
easy to take for granted. It's all I've ever known.
Yeah.
And so I guess, you know, it's easy to assume like, well, this is just our community, and I'm sure their community is similar, and this
Yeah.
community is similar, and
Yeah, I just assumed it was that way everywhere, and it's not. It was shocking to live somewhere where your neighbors don't care about you.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking, it was shocking. Anyways, and I'm not saying they're bad people. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying we didn't fit in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it was us that was the odd
Yeah.
peg.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. You were the
So-
neighbors that cared about your neighbors, and they're like, whoa,
Hey.
like,
So,
this guy seems to care about me.
and down there too, and me working with animals a lot, I like animals a lot. And down there, pets like dogs didn't really seem. I don't know. It was almost like it seemed to me they were almost like property for a lot of people. They were just dogs, and up here, dogs are they're family.
Yeah.
Like, but up here too, you can't keep a dog outside most of the time.
Right.
Because it's winter for 7 months in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
So
Yeah.
no, it was a different air down there, you know. So we just
Yeah.
didn't fit in because we just belong here. Like, and I knew it. I knew as soon as I left, we got down there. I was like, oh man, this is terrible. We don't belong here, you know. But we had to give it a
Yeah.
shot. So.
Your accent probably fit in better down in Tennessee.
Yeah, I
than
grew up
here.
in Virginia, so
Yeah.
I also thought because I was Southern, people always make fun of me when I say that because they don't consider Virginia Southern, but I mean, listen to me, man. Come on. No, I thought that would help us out in some way, and it's just,
Yeah.
it was just weird. Because they even knew I wasn't from there. They're like, "You're not from around here, are you?" And I'm like, "How can you tell?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I got my orange zip up here. I got my accent.
Say,
So-
say boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Cool. Jumping back, you touched on going to art school in Pittsburgh. Was that for any particular kind of medium? I mean, has photography always been kind of your art outlet?
No, I hadn't touched a camera until Christine gave me one. I went to school for oil painting and graphic design, and I just wasn't focused. I was good, just not focused. So I bounced around, and my life got sidetracked. I became a drug addict at a pretty young age, and then it got really bad in my mid-20s to mid-30s. I mean, so bad that I was living in homeless shelters and stuff. It was a terrible life. But then I don't know what happened, but I just was like, I can't do this anymore, you know? So I came up here and,
Got sober, you came up here.
yeah, I checked myself into a rehab for a while and Then I checked into a halfway house, and I did that for a while, and then I came up here, and it was rocky for the first year, but moving to Buffalo is what saved us once we moved out here, because I think all three of us, Christine has a daughter, and all three of us were having some emotional problems, and once we moved to Buffalo, we found the community that we needed. Everything changed.
Yeah.
Bizarre. Like, it bizarrely changed. So it was good, though. It was awesome. What was your original question? Sorry.
I think it was just about photography. And
Oh, no,
art
I
school?
went,
yeah,
I
you
went
were
to
oil
art school.
painting and
Yeah, I went to
you
art
answered
school
it.
for oil painting. So, and I still use that. Not for oil painting, but oil painting is done in a certain way. I was taught to start with the background and move yourself forward to the foreground. And I do my photography the same way. I always take backgrounds first. We'll go on whole road trips just for me to take backgrounds.
Sure.
And then once I get those home, I can classify them, put them in their respective, like, sky pictures, mountain pictures, river pictures. And then when I need to do a picture of, say, Juji of me and him fishing, I go right into that folder. I find all the river pictures. Then I go get a sky picture. Then I put me and him in it separately from my folder of cutouts of me. He has a folder of cutouts of him. Like, it all just...
Yeah. It turns into a puzzle. At
I've
a certain
created
point.
this system, and it works really well. It used to take me a whole day to do one of these, and now I can do one in, I don't know, an hour? But that's if I get to do the photography myself. What I do for people online is a little harder because they have to send me pictures of themselves and their pets. And because I'm working with people that speak other languages sometimes, and I only speak one, instructions get lost in translation on how to take the photos to send them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So there is a curve there, but yeah, I think I got it down.
I think so, too.
It's fun.
How would people get a hold of you if they want to do something local?
My Facebook and Instagram, but most of what I do just goes right through my Gmail.
Sure.
Yeah. I just give people cards. Word of mouth is my biggest business. I'm not kidding, man. It's crazy because once one person gets one and they take it and show their family, then sometimes I'll get 2 or 3 people just from one family
Right.
that'll call me, So, and it's so much fun. That's another thing I really like, too, is the fact that I've been able to meet so many people because of this. I mean, I've met people all over the planet. That's so awesome. Like, I did a picture for a lady the other day in Kazakhstan.
Sure.
And I don't want to get into what I thought is... the point is like, I never thought that I'd even meet anyone from, like, California. So, and when we were growing up, we didn't have these options. We couldn't just... I mean, I had a pen pal in, like, 3rd grade, but it took, like, 3 months to get a reply.
Yeah, I'm now in 5th grade.
Yeah, right? So to be able to do this, to be able to meet someone, have someone come on my Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and say, hey, I'm in France. Can we talk for a minute? And then we talk, and then within an hour doing business.
That's awesome.
And then within 2 days, like, we're friends on Facebook and, like, talking, like, So I've been able to meet a lot of people and make a lot of connections around the planet, and it's very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like we can check off the, 6 degrees of separation. I mean, just by you guys being in here now, and you name dropped a couple of big people that shared here. So I feel like we could do that
Crazy,
now.
man.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I couldn't
And it
believe
was-
it was happening. And I was like, and I kept in the back of my mind, I'm just going, this is so stupid.
Do you wake up and you have 179,000 new notifications? I mean,
Yeah, and that's how it was every day. It was 5,000 to 10,000 new followers. It was, you have 136 messages here. You have 472 emails. I mean, the email thing was outrageous. There was no way I'd ever answer all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
yeah.
I got at the office of the vice president.
No, they were president at the time.
Obama was president, and the office of the vice president, of Michelle Obama called. and asked if they could share the photos. And I was like,
No way.
what is happening? What is happening here?
Yeah.
It was the
So does that show up
craziest
on your
experience.
phone as
But
like
also,
unknown number?
on a
or-
negative side of it, though, I also got a call from some reporters
Yeah.
wanting to dig up my past,
Oh my gosh.
wanting to make a mockery of what I was doing, wanting to spread. Well, I mean, they wouldn't be spreading lies. Everything I did in my past is probably terrible. I was a drug addict, but they wanted to rehash it and put it out there because negativity sells right now.
Right.
Man, it's a big producer of
if
money
it
right
bleeds,
now.
Yeah.
it leads.
Yeah. So, but we didn't have any part of that. We didn't. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, whatever you read, just print it. There's nothing I can do. You're going to print whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So we just didn't. We didn't buy into it. We didn't do interviews. We just.
Well, is this the first interview?
No.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I was only kind of kidding.
No. Well, I've only done a few. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
3 or 4.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Did NPR once. That was cool.
Yeah.
Dave. What's his name? That came out to the house.
Dave, you nailed it.
Dave.
He's. I can't remember.
That
Yeah.
reminds me of a Penguins of Madagascar movie.
He came out and interviewed us, and we did some shooting out in the yard.
Yep.
He did this great write-up on us and this great little video piece on us. It was amazing. It was John Hines. That's who it was.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it was a lot of fun. It was really nice to meet him.
Yep.
So
He's a legend. Yeah, and I think it's just kind of, from what it sounds like, this all started completely. You didn't set out to do this.
No.
This is you messing around, and all of a sudden you realize you're onto something.
I just needed something to do. I was going crazy. I didn't realize how cold it was here. I don't think anybody who's never been here realizes
Yeah.
the cold. Ugh.
A bit
Anyways,
chilly is
and
10
it was-
below.
And it was also the year that it snowed like 3 feet. It was like 7
yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
And it was -0 for like 60 plus days.
Yeah.
That was my first experience
Oh.
in Minnesota. And I'm telling you, it scared me so bad.
Yeah.
So I
happen
just started to, just to mess
Yep.
around. I didn't have any, I didn't even want to be a photographer at that point.
Right.
Sure.
It wasn't even a thought. And I didn't even give myself that label. It kind of came with the social media. At first, it was like public figure.
Sure.
And then everybody kept calling me a photographer, so I just started to say that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I don't think I actually identified as a photographer until about 2 or 3 years ago.
Sure.
But it's just easier to tell people
What you do.
photographer instead of graphic designer, but I
Yeah.
use a camera as a tool in what I do.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Here, look at.
Yeah.
This is what
That's
I do.
what I do. Just look at my
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's
And
right.
usually we get, oh, you're that guy.
Yeah.
So
I am that guy.
And, oh, Juji, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, and you're that guy. So they know
Yeah.
his name.
Yeah. Right. That's funny. Yeah.
And now they're getting
fun.
to know Jasper's name too, which is really cool. People are really responding to Jasper. He's our 2-year-old Bernedoodle, and he's got so much character and life, and like he's so bouncy and playful, and people are really responding to him. And I'm really glad about that because Juji is getting to a point now where we have made the decision to let him sit back now. We're not going to retire him fully. I will do candid stuff with him from now on, just whatever I can get while he's out walking around and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I am not going to plan photos with him anymore because he's just too big and too old. So,
Yeah.
and he's not sick. And I'm not quitting. I don't want anybody to think either one of those things.
Yeah.
He's earned a retirement. We're going to
Right.
give it to him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's what, 57 in dog years.
Right.
Yeah, so that's prime.
And he's been such a good boy. Like we couldn't have asked for a better dog.
Cool.
So it's been so much fun.
Very fun.
Fantastic.
Well, as we kind of wind down up on our time frame, one, I don't I don't want this to be the last time that you're on here because I find you fascinating. It's very fun to talk to.
That's
and
awesome. Yeah,
it's a
I'd love to
great
come
story. But is there anything that you want to leave with, like the city about or the all? We don't have 250,000 followers, but I always make that joke. But our community here. Is there any message that you want to leave with them?
Yeah, I want to thank them all of them, everybody who's ever pitched in, or even hasn't pitched in, who's just left me a comment. So, like when we moved back up and I needed some help, I just asked and people came out and helped. And a lot of people who couldn't said, "I'm sorry, I can't be there." We want to be, but it's a Thursday morning,
Yeah.
And there's one thing about this community: people don't skip work here. Even there's a foot of snow on the ground, they go to work.
Yeah.
So, no, I would like to say thanks to everyone here, even people who run the town, not just the residents. Everyone's been so great, and Christine and I are so thankful to be here, and we just love it.
Awesome.
Wow.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Definitely.
For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reiss.
I'm Mark Benzer.
And I'm Chris Cline.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlund Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.